Jim, thanks for sitting down with me today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Jim, you and I have been in the seed business for a long time, and I don't think we've had the pleasure of sitting down together. So welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate that.
Pleasure. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and the role that you play with USC?
My background is ag. I grew up ag as a young man and grew up on a family farm, so my background has been immersed in the ag industry, and to the point of where, and to I call my secondary life, after I got married, we actually were still immersed in ag. So my wife and I started a family farm ourselves, and we were building that and doing a lot of different things to the point of building products in our own shop for my own farming operation. And I guess through my upbringing and the big family that we were raised up in, we had a lot of opportunities to tinker with things, I guess, growing up to say. And we learned a lot of things. I can't say that our dad was a guy that drove in a sense of hey, you got to build this thing. I mean, I think he gave us the opportunity to just think,
figure it out.
Right. And so as we were, in the farming operations, you seen things that, hey, I can improve that. I can make that better. So through all that, I mean, I think there's a huge background. Again, I say we come from a big family, and so we had this opportunity come along in 1998 that. My brother and I, Andy, doing the farming, that we always thought that, hey, if we had an opportunity to do something in the wintertime, build something in the shop, it would be great so we could have something to do. That's really how this all started, if you really want to get down to it. It was just as simple as that.
A winter job.
A winter job, yeah. And you know how a lot of things happen. Somebody knows somebody, and that's really how this came to us. Is my brother, as I said, came from a large family, worked in a local business. This opportunity came to them, and it really didn't fit what they were doing. It was the ag side. They were more the food and feed side. And so my brother, he caught wind of this, and he says, "Hey, I got someone who might be interested in this." And so he brought that out to us in 1998. And one thing led to another. We got some good advice on what the industry is looking for. Took a chance, and we built some equipment through some advice of some industry insiders that we had contacted through the local company. And we built our seed treater, and as we all know, kind of history of 1999 and 2000. I mean, we basically went a whole year looking, scouting, finding, trying to sell this product, and finally got a hold of a gentleman through Syngenta, or Novartis at the time, and basically we tried for 2 or 3 months, and they really weren't grabbing it, and they didn't grab a hold of it very fast. And finally we decided to just do one more last. There was actually 2 things we did. We were told to get to ASTA in 1999. That was the first thing we were told through some local NK dealers that, good friends of ours, and we bought seed from them for a long time. He basically, he went and up the chain on his side and said, well, what am I going to do with these young men that, that are trying to do something for us? How am I going to give them a fair shake? And anyway, they said he was told to get them to ASTA, get them up there. And so 1999, we loaded up a little Chevy Lumina with a couple little devices and threw we didn't have a backdrop. We just threw some pictures on some laminated and cut and put a couple of cheesy polo shirts together, and we went to Chicago. And totally out of my realm. I'll never forget the experience. It was a life-changing experience for me when it comes to the seed world and really what it meant. So anyway, that was my first year at ASTA, and this being my 17th year being at ASTA. So, long story short, we finally decided that I said 2 decisions we made. One was get to ASTA. The second was we went ahead and called up Novartis one more time and said, "Hey, would you take a seed treater if we gave it to you?" And that pretty much started it all. When they did that, they accepted it in Greensboro. 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, it was about the same time. All of this was going in, December ASTA time. And the first part of January, we started getting phone calls from the local seed treatment reps. So we really owe a lot. Well, I say Syngenta. They were Novartis at the time. We owe a lot to Syngenta. We do. And I think through, just listening to them and listening to the industry, we are where we are today.
What a great entrepreneurial story. The seed industry is flush with these collaboration type stories, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's amazing what can get done when you bring some heads together.
It is a spider web of opportunity.
Exactly. Well said. I like that. So seed treatments have changed a lot over the years.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about how those changes have affected your business and your equipment?
Oh, absolutely. There's been a great effect on our equipment. As we were starting into this, again, going back to the Syngenta Novartis story, the downstream market has basically was in its infancy, okay? And so what Syngenta was looking for was just a system that was relatively cheap and relatively simple to operate. And we offered that to them. And what we offered to them then, in that package we put together, was a seed treater, atomizing technology with a tumbling drum, and a good pump, a peristaltic pump, and very simple control systems. And in that basically set the ground floor, if you would, I guess for lack of better words, is that ground floor we built our industry, our company off of the LP series treater. And so as the industry changed and the seed treatment industry started adopting the downstream the model for soybeans, so you had the fungicide market, which was a lower cost product line to get into the industry. I think it was $2 to $3 somewhere in that area back in the day. That was 2 or 3 years into the through the 2003 area. Then somewhere around that 2004 is when the insecticide market really started to kick into gear. So as you can see where the story's going. Mm-hmm. So the insecticide market, higher dollar product line, a better yield bump for the end user, the farmer, required more training, more precise equipment. Not to say our equipment was precise, it was just labor intensive to get it there. So you had to make sure you trained your operators well, and there was a lot of hands-on. But you could do it. I mean, you could make it precise. And so what happened was, as these insecticides came on, they were just seeing there was more value to the end user, and so the need for different things. Flow meters came online, liquid flow meters. That's one more thing that the operator, didn't, it eliminated a mistake. And so the flow meters came online, and through that insecticide market, then we go, through 4 or 5 years of the insecticide market and different players coming online, and the end user adopting technology just exploded. And so we had to keep with that. I hired my first electrical engineer in 2002, and kind of seeing what was coming, I hired him on, and I said, what's it going to take to get you into ladder logic programming? Because I think it's coming. I think this industry is going to be ready for it. So he came back to me a couple days later. He said, I need this. I need the laptop with this capabilities, and I need to buy this program. And so we purchased that for him. I think we spent a couple $1,000s for all that. And that's when our first PLC program came online. We did a simple batching system, but it turned into a full automated treater. Our first one being sold in 2004 to our first seed company. So that evolved into total bin-side operations, and through as seed has changed, the seed became more valuable. Handling the seed correctly and gently, and then just push button operations, and we pretty much mirrored the precision farming, as we all know, that kind of blew up in the early 2000s as well. It mirrored that, so the end users were just anything they can get a hold of when it comes to automation. So that was probably the biggest explosion we saw, was just the pure automation side of that thing. And then, of course, we all know, the nematicides came online. And, again, we needed a little more technology, plug and play, lock and load type stuff that customers weren't around the product, didn't touch the product. It was all self-contained. It didn't get out and harm anybody. So that's kind of how it evolved. There was a lot there, and as far as kind of walking through that,
right.
that definitely has pushed us to where we are today.
Awesome. Continued development, right? Innovation
Absolutely.
is the key.
Absolutely.
Right, excellent. So seed treatments continue to be a dialogue. We want to ensure the safety of seed treatments, just like we do in everything we do in agriculture, and specifically in seed. Can we talk a little bit about how you see USC's role in ensuring that safety and making sure that we're going down all those correct paths?
Well, I want to start off by saying I've heard rumblings. I really haven't been point blank asked, I guess, what about this? I hear it through the industry, ASTA, even TV shows I've caught that talk about this, a neonicotinoid problem that no one really has proven, right or wrong or other, okay? The one thing that I get a simple answer is dust collection.
Right.
And, things that we're working on today. I mean, we've got some new products coming out that really focus on that. So just watching and helping the industry. I mean, that's what we're here to do. We will help them get there and, through innovation and different ideas and such.
It's interesting. You get paid to build equipment, but really what you're doing is innovating alongside the seed treatment companies.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Absolutely.
I think that one of the pieces they're looking to figure out is this dust collection and managing that. And I know USC has certainly played a role in figuring out those pieces.
Correct.
So that innovation is critical to your success as much as it is to theirs. Mm-hmm. How do you invest in that R&D component? Can you talk a little bit about how your company is structured on that research and development side and innovation?
So, in the beginning, we were, when you're a dozen people, there's just roles you got to, build up on. You have to, multitask everything, and you don't have as many things to think about when you have fewer employees, okay? And so, again, it goes back to that farming background. Again, we said we had a large family. So currently, I've got 3 other siblings, besides Andy and I, who own the company, working for USC. And so, building up this product development role, we currently have 6 guys that sit on that board, in that role.
Right.
And we meet once a week. When I'm not at ASTA, we meet once a week, and we basically just kind of brainstorm. I guess, for lack of better words, the things that we've heard, some rumblings in the industry, and do we want to go and try something new? And I think again, I got a brother on there that he and I, my brother Greg and I, we spend a lot of time in the product development world. That's kind of our roles. That's my side job. I got my main job of running the company with my brother Andy, but my side job is the product development, and that's really truly my love is product development. So it's kind of where I always will gravitate to product development. I truly love it, and Greg and I we work well as a team because I'm a napkin guy. He's a computer guy.
Nice.
So I've tried the computer thing. And someday I may want to get into that computer thing, but all my notes are taken on graph paper, and there's a reason why. It's because if I have a thought, I put it on a graph paper, and then I'll refine it when I get home. Then I'll say, "Hey, Greg, let's look at this. Let's see what we got," and then we'll take it to the the product development meeting, and we'll kind of kick it around and get some feedback from the other thing. I have my product production manager on that board as well as our electrical engineer, so we kind of grasp every part of that. Then and Andy comes in and helps as well. But that's really as simple as it is. It's just, I don't know where it comes from. I credit my 4x4x4 office, which is a tractor cab, a combine cab, or a pickup cab. There's a lot of things that have generated through that little office space. And let me tell you, I'd much rather be in that office space than sitting behind a desk. I truly enjoy that part of my life is the ag side. And we still actively in the ag side and farm
Nice.
Yeah.
Who needs yoga when you got a tractor cab?
I agree. I mean, I've said that many times. There is no reason for any stress management because that's all right there. And it's probably kind of an odd statement. It's kind of a tough economy right now to sit there and say, hey, that's where I go to relieve my stress is in a tractor cab. And so it really is. It's a good thinking position. It's quiet, and it just gives you a spot that is your own, and no one's going to bug you. And so it's a great place to just relax.
Nice.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal ball that I'm sure you utilize a lot. If you look into your crystal ball 5-10 years out, what do you see coming down the pipe? What's going to be the next big shift?
The rumblings I've been hearing for the last couple of years is, and as the seed treatment thing has evolved, the biologicals have really ramped up, and I think it goes back to one key thing. I think it goes back to this downstream market and the ability for these guys who are entrepreneurs themselves, the guys who have taken the risk and built their own seed treating operations, seed operations. It just gives them more opportunities to service their customer better, to give them that extra 5 bushel bump or whatever, a 2 bushel bump, whatever it is. Biologicals, nematicides, all these things are just a key component to what they see. They can continue on and servicing their customers. So the 5 to 10 year outlook, biologicals are going to continue to get bigger. I guess the word that is out there that is no one really wants to address yet is the overtreat market. I don't know, maybe you've heard of the overtreat market. It's being done, and we are working with some products we currently have in the field. Now, actually, I want to show floor. The U-Batch product line is really catered to that overtreat market of corn seed. And
maybe you can talk a little bit about that, about the overtreat.
So the overtreat, when I talk about the overtreat market, I'm talking about simple as a planter lubricant, right? Talc graphite. That's an overtreat product. A lot of farmers do it, dump the seed, throw it a little bit in the box, or throw it in the center field planter. And it's not really done correctly, and you're going to see fluctuations in your plant seed count, seed to seed, and that again is going to affect your yield. I've got customers who love the product just to do that because they get a consistent seed to seed loading when it comes to planter lubricant, and that affects yield. And then as simple as a root stimulant of some sort, and that being in a biological form. Of course, inoculants have been around for years. I mean, inoculants were around when we first started this, and inoculants are a hot topic as well, and that's part of that whole biological. And so we do biologicals with our current continuous flow treaters, but the U-Batch really gives them a edge on the volume. So it's a 2,500 pound system that you can dump a whole buckhorn box of seed at one time, treat it, and put it right back in that same box.
Perfect.
And it's a very convenient, set it next to your continuous flow bulk system right in your shop.
Right.
That's a big revelation coming. And my crystal ball, I think that's kind of where it's at this moment. And I think once we figure that out, and again, it goes back to biologicals.
Yeah,
and it just that's what's great about this company. We started something in 2000 that has now generated so many more things.
Right.
You got to hand it to Syngenta for their vision back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and seeing this opportunity out there in the what we call the naked soybean.
Yep, agreed. Jim, for all manufacturers, a dealer network is pretty critical, to say the least.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about how yours is structured?
Yes, that'd be great. So we announced a year ago at ASTA that we were partnering up with a company called GSI. Andy and I have looked at ways to better service this customer base. We've got some 4,000 locations in the United States now that really are kind of out and kind of out by themselves. And we have a dealer network, but we wasn't a full service dealer network like we wanted to see. It looked more like a distribution model, and we at USC had to really build up our servicing department. And servicing from Sabetha, Kansas, and some Columbus, Ohio, just really wasn't feasible. And so the opportunity came along to partner up with GSI. GSI has a servicing dealer network in place. The beauty of the GSI model is, in the grain handling, they're off-season to us. They're countercyclical to the USC market. So this dealer network now that we have put together, we have some legacy dealers, we call them, that still stayed on board with us, and we now have a total of 35 full servicing dealers. Our full servicing dealers are dedicated to having parts on inventory, which is new. Our goal is to have somewhere around $4 million of parts in inventory throughout the U.S., scattered throughout brick and mortar or even service trucks. Once these guys get done, getting the dryers up and running and service that they do on the grain handling side, they're looking for something to do. And so this group of individuals, what we call the GSI dealer network, they're ready to go and reared up. So we're very excited about the fact that we have this. As I coined it last year to some of the big corps, I said, hey, we are going to change the way this market's getting serviced. Our goal is to have a servicing dealer within 120 miles of every treater in the United States. And today, we're about 95% covered. We have some East Coast stuff we're still working through, but right now we are very excited about where we are and changing the way this customer looks at when I buy a USC product line, I've got a dealer right down the road or within an hour of me, and he's got all the parts. He'll come up here and help me start it, train me. So we're pretty excited about that. You bet.
Agreed. That's awesome. Thanks very much for sitting down and sharing some of your insights, Jim. It was a pleasure.
You bet.
Thanks very much.
You bet.